Okay, today we are covering representing supplier diversity efforts. So represent the organization's supplier diversity efforts with advocacy groups, boards, and other external organizations. Presentation skills, which we covered just the last one or two. When presenting, supply management professional must consider the communication objective, recognize the factors affecting the environment where the communication will take place, recognize the importance of selecting the appropriate medium, and develop the proposal for the ultimate decision maker who may or may not be in the room. So presentation advantages, it gathers people together in a decision-making process and can provide an opportunity to ensure uniform understanding. Professional representation or spokesperson skills. Purchasing should consider the following when communicating both within and outside the organization. Constant reinforcement of strategic functional criteria should be an integral part. As commerce becomes more global and business increasingly reflects a mix of cultures, supply management must understand how to communicate with all those different cultures. And no matter the circumstances, supply management professional is seen as a representative of his or her organization, and you should behave accordingly. So representing the organization or the company that you work for. In order to effectively communicate a message, supply management professionals should understand the audience, be well prepared, practice several times prior to delivering the speech, establish a rapport with the group, deliver the message, provide solid real-world examples, deliver the message and answer questions openly, position themselves in such a way, or supply management professional would position themselves in such a way to ensure the audience can clearly see any visuals. Don't stand in front of your screen. Be consistent, ensure the message is consistent with the organization vision, and be aware of nonverbal cues. I think J2 or K2 is where we covered the presentation in depth, presentation skills in depth. So culturally diverse communication. As supply management becomes more global, supply management professionals must understand how to communicate with a culturally diverse supply base. So the use of time. Some cultures are strongly driven by time, while others are more relaxed. You got to adjust to their communication accordingly. Even in the US, you find people in the country don't move as fast as people in the city. Individualism versus collectivism. Some cultures seem to focus on the winner being an individual. In these cultures, supply managers seek the top person. This is the US. We're a very individualistic culture. Other cultures concentrate on the team aspect of a group. When dealing with these cultures, supply management usually has to convince the whole team. And usually it's places like Japan, other Asian countries where the cultures are more of a team or group aspect. Role of orderliness or conformity. In some cultures, such as those in the Pacific Rim, there's a high need for orderliness or conformity. In these cultures, there's more emphasis on behavior than content, and there's a great deal of attention paid to rituals and exchange of business cards and such. Some cultures, like the US, are generally more concerned with the content of a presentation than the procedures relevant to the process. And some cultures have a much more informal communication style. For example, it is common to use first or given names. In the US, this is very common. You'll find even in Europe, some places that isn't really done. And certainly there are some places in Asia where you don't be using somebody's your first name. Patterns of communication. Some cultures are considered high text, such as Pacific Rim, where the meaning of the message is embedded in the context of the communication. Words have several different meanings. It's just the context that you use the word in provides the exact meaning. The responsibility is placed on the receiver of the information to comprehend the message. Some cultures are considered low tech, such as US, Canada, and Western Europe. The meaning of the message is exactly what's explicitly stated. And nonverbal communication, body language is important when delivering messages. So facial expressions, hand gestures, eye contact, amount of physical space between people. Americans generally prefer to have a great deal of space around them and do not like physical contact. Don't be touchy-feely with your American counterparts. In Latin America or Middle East, it's not uncommon to take a position near the person they are speaking with. This is done to establish contact with the person. So not so much personal space in Latin America or Middle East. Professional trade associations. In the US, the Small Business Administration has a computerized directory of small disadvantaged businesses and women-owned businesses. ProNet is an electronic gateway to procurement information for small business. Minority business directories are also available from DIR, or Diversity Information Resources, and business.com, and other directories can be found on the attached file. This just kind of gives a listing of directories. You got to define what a minority business is to you. And then you can look up some of these places, these directories where you can find qualified businesses. Strategic participation, so executive selection. Having executive sponsors for diversity initiatives has become the norm with most companies. And organizations know that what gets measured and supported by top management is what's going to happen. So working closely with executives on messaging and engagement practices will set expectations for both internal and diverse suppliers, internal stakeholders and diverse suppliers. So organizational intent, clear expectations of how supplier diversity policies will be used is important. And it is a waste of time to only put these items on a website and not take any action. Supplier diversity programs have stated goals and these must be achieved. So if you're going to make these policies, you need to train people on them. Fiduciary responsibilities. In the past, supplier diversity programs were often given only lip service as there was no metrics to quantify them. The perception of costs going up, such as programs are implemented, has been the norm. Costs go up more often than they come down. And supplier diversity initiatives are now demonstrating that they are not only good for brand recognition, but also for increased profits because they can bring increased competition to your supply base. It's imperative for companies to communicate such success stories to their stakeholders. All right. Which of the following is least effective when preparing and delivering a diversity presentation to executives? Elaborating on main points, if time allows. You'd want to do that. Preparing written backup materials with more detail. You'd probably want to do that. Putting diversity issues in context of the organization as a whole. Probably want to do that. And using visual aids and graphical illustrations. You'd certainly want to do that. So we know we want to do A and D. Which one would be least between B and C? Probably B, because we certainly want to put diversity issues in context of the organization. A, elaborating on main points of time allowed. Really? A is correct because focusing on key information is important when addressing executives. A clear, concise presentation shows respect for their time and reinforces the presentation's understanding which issues are key. Why would that one be least? Well, I don't get that question. I think what they meant is most. Okay. Next question. Availability of a wide range of life experiences, various cultures, personalities, and total diversity is a good description of which of the following. It's a project team of an organization, and maybe average U.S. population. Could be. General breakdown of the population of an organization, probably not. Supply management cross-functional team, could be. Something tells me D is probably the answer, just because that's the way ISM would think. D it is. All right, so the exception is 65, which I think it should be more effective, given that answer. There you go. Now we need to go and do some summary here. When a supplier diversity initiative takes shape, it needs to be communicated to all employees as everyone has a role to play in its success. Supply management professionals should look for various advocacy groups and boards to articulate the company's strategic position and various initiatives on supplier diversity. And supply management professionals should be acquainted with all available resources, including professional and trade associations, when managing diverse suppliers. Okay, so now you guys got to go do some questions. And we're on K4. So we'll find the questions for K. It's J4. That's not what we want. Let's go find K4. Questions for K4. And we've got 5 questions, so go do them all. And your answers will be located in the answer file. You want to find J4, answers to practice questions. All right. No, I'm sorry. It's not J4, it's K4. Boy. K4, answers to practice questions. And we start on section L next. Thanks.